back to the Godly Playroom. My name is Ruth Lomax, and I get to be in the room with all these great stories and online with you. So thank you for taking time to nourish your spirit. I hope you come close to God in this time. I wonder what you need to do to get ready. You might want to find some art materials to work with a little bit later during our response. You might want to get something ready for feast. Or maybe you just need to go and find the candle that you light whenever you share in this time. Maybe you've done all of those things and you're ready. Oh, so ready for another story. Sometimes, even when I think I'm ready or I want to be ready, God has other ideas. And so it helps for me to just slow down a little bit. Take a few deep breaths. Because almost always when I think, oh, I don't need to do that, I don't have time to do that, that's when I need to take some time the most. So if you will, let's take a deep breath. And another one in through the nose and out through the mouth. And let's all those receptors and muscles in our mouth and our jaw and face relax a little bit. You might roll our shoulders. I wonder what the first few weeks of September have been like for you. Here in this room, we are in the creation season. We're already in the second week of creation on our calendar. And outside, the mornings are getting cooler, although the sunlight this week has been beautiful. I hope you're getting some time to enjoy creation in the midst of whatever other things are going on. Maybe you're in a new school or a new classroom, or you're still getting used to that routine. I've had my first couple of funerals again with lots of people. And there are all those little things that I used to do that I've forgotten, or I'm not sure how to do them because I need to wear a mask or I need to be more careful around others. Sometimes it helps me just to go through step by step. What do I need? I wonder what helps you get ready. Today's story is perhaps a bit about what happens when we aren't ready, or we think we are, or we think we know more than God. It's called The Falling Apart. And you'll find it on the Sacred Story shelf, just below the creation story that we heard last week. It's a Godly Play story and is copyright protected and shared with permission. Are you ready? Well, let's begin. And know that you can stop the video at any time if you need a bathroom break or something distracts you, or maybe you think of something that you want to get ready. But sometimes it helps us come closer to God and work a little more deeply with the Holy if we can set aside this time to just be with one another And let the Spirit move. We remember that once there was someone who said such amazing things and did such wonderful things that people began to follow him. And the more they followed him, the more they wondered who he was. And so one time they just had to ask, "Who are you?" And one time, when they asked him that question, he said, "I am the light." And the light grows whenever it is shared. I'm going to put the candle back on the shelf here though, so it's out of our way. It's getting very short. Just kind of like our daylight hours are getting less and less each day as we get closer to Advent. But that's way ahead of us still. This story. When God created everything, God did so in love. And God said, "It is very good." God put the first people in a garden. There was Adam, whose name means everyone, and Eve, who is part of Adam. They were so together, they were like Adam, Eve. They were together with one another, and with God, and with the garden. And God put God's own imprint in all of it. There were also two mysterious trees in the midst of the garden. There was the tree of knowledge. If you ate its fruit, you would begin to understand about difference, like high and low, or near and far, good and evil. The other tree was the tree of life. If you ate its fruit, you could live forever. God told Adam and Eve not to eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge. The serpent was one of the most clever creatures in the garden. And it convinced Adam and Eve that they could eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge. And when they did, everything fell apart. They were no longer Adam and Eve. They were Adam and Eve. When God called to them that evening in the garden, they hid. Because they didn't know how to be with God anymore, or to be close to one another or the garden in the way they had been. But God gave them a gift when everything fell apart. They could now take those differences that they saw and put them together in a new way. They couldn't create something out of nothing like God does, but they could create something good and new out of their difference. Adam and Eve, though, longed to go back to the way things had been before. But God set an angel at the edge of the garden so that they could not go back. They could only go forward, and they would not be able to come back and eat of the fruit that would let them live forever. They were made from the earth, and to the earth they would return. But during their days, they could still create some of that love and goodness that had been part of what they remembered of the garden. And God promised to go with them, just as God goes with us today. I wonder what you like best about this story. I wonder what's most important about this story. You can pause the video at any time if you want to have some conversations with the people in your household or with God, or you just want to take some more time to think about these questions. I wonder if there's anything we could leave out of this story and still have all the story that we need. I wonder where you are in this story, or what part of this story is most like you. I'm going to put the story away. But you can begin to think about what you might want to do in response to this story. Here's the serpent, that most clever creature. And the trees of life and of knowledge. And Adam, who became Adam and Eve. I'm going to get my materials ready, and you can pause the video if you want, but I'll see you back here in a few minutes. Welcome back. I have a lot of things. It was hard to make up my mind today. But then I realized, I think I'm just wondering about difference. So I have a piece of a little bit thicker paper, because I thought I might try a collage, which is to use a lot of different things. So I have some string, and I have some paint and some water and a cleanup cloth and a pipe cleaner, and some glue, feathers, and then a bunch of magazines and some scissors. But first, I'm gonna try this. It's called string painting. And it's kind of gooey and messy. And you can just put it on the page however you want. You can kind of drag it around if you want, or you could take it and kind of snap it. But I'm going to put it like this. And wipe off my fingers because I didn't leave the end clean. I'm going to fold this over, push on it, and then better get on my tray here. I don't make too much mess. And then I'm just going to pull the string out. So I'm pushing down on the paper, pull the string out. See if we can glue the string on. We might need white glue for this. Yes. So I went and got some white glue so that I can glue the string on. I was thinking a little bit that it feels like a lot of things are falling apart. People used to get along with each other better, and now all we seem to see is the differences. And so far, it doesn't seem like we've been able to figure out where that gift is in the middle of it all. Is there some way, with God's help maybe, that we can create something new? Right now it just feels messy. There are all those things that kind of keep us apart. Times it's like we think we're trying to be clever, but we're not really. Just make things worse. I wonder what differences you're noticing. Maybe you're happily unattached. I wonder if you've ever fallen apart with God. Or is there something that needs mending in your life? Maybe something has fallen apart. I am not having good luck with glue today. There are lots of differences here. And mostly we think of differences as really good things. But sometimes we get stuck. Seeing those differences is not so good. Maybe differences in how we worship or how we dress. How we sound, what we eat. Maybe even where we live. And in this creation time, we're also doing some thinking about all the different species that are part of this earth. And the ways we are called to work together to create something new out of all those amazing differences. We need to remember that we share this earth. And maybe just maybe, there's an angel somewhere reminding us that we can't go back. We can only go forward. Create something new together. I might need tape for this. I think the glue isn't going to work very well. I wonder what you will create out of the differences you notice this week. I wonder what you might need to do or be to come close to the holy again. Many of us are really feeling that sense of longing, of wanting to go back. But we can only go forward. And we know that God goes with us. I'm going to clean up my mess, which seems rather large today. And you can begin to get your mess cleaned up or finish whatever work you've been doing. If you need to stop the video and take some more time, feel free to do that. And whenever you're ready, come on back and we'll share our prayers and our feast together. Well, I hope you were able to clean up your mess. I'm not sure when we changed the color orange to creation, I was supposed to get that much orange on my hands. Even with soap and water, there's still a bit of orange hanging around there. But my feast today to share with you. I wonder what you have for feast. I have some grapes and strawberries and some water. And good company, which is really all that's needed to have a feast. But first, let's say our gratitude. Sometimes our prayers are more than just gratitude, though. Sometimes we say them out loud, sometimes we say them in our own heart. You might want to share with your household. Sometimes we pray for other people, or we sing. Today I want to pray for people who are sad, who feel like everything's falling apart. I would want them to know that God is with them, even in the midst of the falling apart. And that somehow, somewhere in that mess, there might be a gift. A way of putting things together again to create something new. And I pray for all our people who are trying to make decisions about who to vote for, whether to get vaccinated or not, whether to mask or not, all those things that seem to be pushing us apart. At a time when we need to pull together. We need God the strength and the courage and the patience and the humility to listen to one another and to find a way to care for each other, so that we can create something good out of our difference, not just more anger. And thank you for this beautiful day, for the sunshine and the fall colors, for the sounds of the birds, for each of you, and for time together. Amen. So I wonder, if you've eaten something from a garden. Maybe you have a crabapple tree in your yard, or some rhubarb, although they're just about done. I planted some rhubarb this year, but I have to wait till next year. It wasn't quite ready to get big enough this year. But I have a mountain ash tree in my backyard, and it is just loaded with berries. So I see that color orange every day when I look outside. And the birds are kind of smart because they'll leave those berries till January or February when it's really cold and there's not much else to eat. We could learn a lesson or two from the birds and the plants and the animals. Maybe even from people who are different from us. These are very good grapes. I wonder how many different ways you could think of to call God. Did you think of lots of different names? I wonder how many different ways God has of telling us we're loved. Quite a lot, I imagine. We just need to pay attention. I wonder what new things you're learning this week. Some days I feel like I'm relearning things that I've forgotten. Even things that happened in May and June of this year just seem like such a long time ago. But one way or the other, we remember what we need. And when we remember to say thank you and to make something good out of difference, most everything else falls into place. And before we know it, our time together is over for this week. But you're welcome to join us in worship if you want to check out our Facebook or YouTube page. Or you're welcome to be back in the circle or to watch any of the other videos that are on those channels. But for now, let's change the light. Some people miss this part. Right now, the light is just in this one place and one time. But when we change it, it can spread out and it will fill the room. It will find its way to wherever you are. Oh, I will pray that it finds its way into the midst of the differences, to all those situations where things are falling apart, that we might discover by this light to see something new, or watch what happens. Oh. Until we meet again. Thanks for being part of the circle today. Stay safe, be well, and look after one another.